Hello everyone, this is Lucy05 and welcome to the Cockpit Master Tutorial Review. And today so you'll be looking at the 1994 release by Playmates of the Exo Squad Mecha and Action Figure Review. And today's Mecha and Action Figure Review will be looking at Series 2 of the Ground Assault E-Frame and its pilot Wolf Bronski. Now I got this straight from eBay and everything you see here is mint in box, and this only cost me $30, which is really good deal here. A lot of people in eBay sells it at least minimum of $80 because the Ground Assault E-Frame is really hard to come by, and most people who does sell this, they only sell the Ground Assault E-Frame without the figure and the rest of the accessories less than $20. So for $30 this is a really good deal, very good deal indeed. Now, let's take a look at the front portion of the packaging itself. We have a very nice artwork of the Ground Assault E-Frame being piloted by Wolf Bronski here, and the E-Frame is jumping up in the air. As you can see, the thrusters being blasted out from the bottom of the foot. His right arm is launching all the missiles, so that's the right side of the knee itself, and the foot is also firing guns. On the other side of the arm is also firing the laser and the grappling hook as well. In the background is a war-torn planet of Earth with, well, quite red in the skies. The building is covering in smoke. The bridges or the railways are all broken apart. The buildings are in ruins. Very nice artwork. In the background at the bottom there's also human soldiers along with the police enforcer E-Frame piloted by Sean Napier, the resistance leader, and the field communication E-Frame piloted by Alex De Leon. At the bottom corner here, you're barely able to see anything, but you can recognize the radar dish on top of the E-Frame itself with a huge gun on one arm. Very nice. Here we have a listing for the Ground Assault E-Frame, and it features the Exo spring powered grappling hook launcher for the left arm, the 5-barrel Gatling gun Exo missile launcher for the right arm, fully rotating Exo laser side shooters for the smaller guns, and finally we have the heavy load lifting hydraulics for the legs. At the bottom corner here we have a small image of Wolf Bronski figure, the actual image toy itself, and also the Ground Assault E-Frame. Bottom section of the box is nothing special. It's about the same thing with the description of the features and the smaller images of the actual toys. So that's on the other side. On the top, this is to hang onto the pegs itself, and so that's on the other side as well. Now for the box itself, you can open up to review a little bit more information. Sorry for the glare. Top section now on the corner, you have an image of JT Marsh, Lieutenant JT Marsh wants you, Exo Squad wants you to join, Exo Squad. Here is a smaller write-up on what's the E-Frame's function and how they, function. Here is a smaller instruction manual on how to load the figure onto the E-Frame, load all the missiles and the grappling hook onto the E-Frame, and how to launch it. Very nice. At the window here, we have the actual figure for the Ground Assault E-Frame, and surrounding him on one side is the missiles, at the bottom missiles as well, and along with the E-Frame attachment. Sorry for the thunder in the background, it's raining right now. Here is a small little figure for the Wolf Bronski figure along with his own accessories, as you can see there. Very nice. At the back portion of the packaging, top corner here is a smaller write-up on Exo Squad storyline. Here is a smaller text spec for the Ground Assault E-Frame along with all the techno babbles listing out the details for the Ground Assault E-Frame. Bottom section of the packaging itself is the rest of the Series 1 and Series 2 figures. We have Sean Napier, the resistance leader, with the police enforcer E-Frame. Wolf Bronski, which we are reviewing right now, with the Ground Assault E-Frame. Sergeant Rita Torres with Field Sergeant E-Frame. Lieutenant Nara Burns with the Reconnaissance E-Frame. Lieutenant JT Marsh with Area Attack E-Frame. Alex De Leon with the Field Communications E-Frame. Phaeton, leader of the Neo Sapiens, with Command E-Frame. Typhonus, General Typhonus, with High Speed Stealth E-Frame. Here we have a smaller profile card which you can actually cut out. As you can see, there's a smaller cutout line at the edge of the profile card itself for Wolf Bronski himself. Here you got a nicer image, both image. One of the images is the Wolf Bronski, the other image is the ground assault E-frame based on the animation artwork style. Now, the top section there stated name Wolf Bronski, capacity ground assault officer, assignment Exo Squad Flight 1 Able Squad, E-frame type ground assault E-frame, code BD-100, end quote, birth planet Earth. Dossier: Wolf Bronski is a ground assault officer of the Able Squad. He has the longest service record of any Exo Squad member. He is a gruff, hard-edged techno brute with a heart of gold, who's often known to belch after a good battle or a midnight mess hall raid. Bronski may be a little unorthodox, but he is the best backup an Exo Squad E-framer could have. That's why he's often teamed with Exo Squad rookies like Exo Fighter pilot Kaz Takagi. His ground assault E-frame may be a little worse for the wear, but combined with Bronski's expert marksmanship, they are the ultimate neo-battling machine. Very nice. So, without further ado, let's open up the packaging so we can molest the toys. Be right back. And we're back after doing the figure and the rest of the stuff out from the packaging. Now, let's take a look at Wolf Bronski, the figure itself. But first things first, let's take a look at his accessories first. Now, it comes with two accessories. One of them is a small little knife here, made of a brown plastic material color with no paint job at all. There's a bit of details on the handle itself, but nothing too spectacular. A smaller accessory here, which can only fit onto his right hand due to the, well, the gap of his holding hand there. Then we have his laser pistol, very nice, also made of a brown plastic material color with no paint job at all. However, the laser pistol has a little bit of details there. You got a barrel of the laser pistol, you got a handle. You also got a smaller trigger at the bottom section of the middle part of the body of the laser pistol. There's also a bit of details of the body itself. Very nice. And can only fit properly onto his left hand. Now let's take a look at the figure's paint job. Now majority of the parts for the figure's body is made of a brown plastic material color, except for the head, which is made of a light gray plastic material color. Now, as you can see, half of the parts, as you can see here, is not painted at all. So some of the parts are actually painted. For the arms itself, majority of arms is not painted, except for the hands. The gloves is painted in really dark blue paint job. He's wearing a jacket, as you can see, which is not painted at all, except for the inside of the, well, jacket itself, some sort of armor piece, which is painted in orange. And small little bits of the armor parts there are painted in dark green. So does the belt itself. The belt is also painted in dark green, along with the pouches, the straps, and the gun holster on one side. The head is actually painted, the whole entire head. Flesh tone skin is painted onto his face. Has dark brown hair. Eyebrows and pupils are painted in black, and the eyes is painted in white. One side of the tie here is not painted at all, except for this section of the tie, because the holster is painted in dark green, and the entire pair of boots, as you can see, is painted in dark blue. And that's about it with the paint job. Simplistic, but really works well. Now let's take a look at the figures mold. Now the figures mold has not been, well, the parts has not been reused with the other figures, which is a good thing. And he is quite, well, close resemblance to the animation version of Wolf Bronski, except for one thing: he's not fat enough. In the, well, animation, Wolf Bronski has a beer belly, and he doesn't have a beer belly, so it's understandable. Playmates want to standardize all the figure size anyway, and Neo Sapiens would have its own standardized, well, size and build. So he is a bit slim, but the details is quite well done. His hair, the hair mold itself, there's a lot of nice details on the hair itself. The face sculpt there, very nicely done. The inside of his armor is also quite nicely done with the smaller details, as you can see there. jacket here is also quite nice. Got a pouch on one side, smaller pouch located on this section here. I'm barely able to see it, but here you go. You got the jacket's shoulder pads. At the back here we have the Cyberlink jack with the wire attached as well. The back is quite bare. We have the belt, as you can see, with smaller pouches, with straps and more pouches at the back as well, and to the other side. The gloves is nothing special, it's just simple mold there. One side of the tie we have the molding of the gun holster with the gun itself. The other side is pure plain. And then we have the boots itself, which is also quite plain looking, but still quite nicely done. The mold is actually not bad. Now let's take a look at the figure's articulation. Now bear in mind this is a 1994 action figure, and the articulation bears quite a lot of resemblance to the G.I. Joe vintage version of the G.I. Joe, the 80s and 90s version of the G.I. Joe action figure's articulation, except it doesn't have all of the articulation. It has most of the articulation minus one. So we have the neck joint here that can go left and right. It can turn 360 degrees, but it's being hindered by the collar itself. Shoulder joints here can turn 360 degrees, but due to the design of the shoulder pads, it can spread the arms quite far. So it can still turn, but it spreads the arms quite far, like so. It doesn't turn the entire arm straight. Shoulder joints can also move this high up. Elbow joint bend this far, back a little bit, and turn 360 degrees. No wrist joint at all, and no torso joint or waist joint at all. Hip joints here is quite limited and hindered, so it can only move the legs this high, and as you can see, it tends to spread the legs a little bit far apart. It can also bend, well, the legs back a little bit or to the sides just a little bit, and we have a knee joint that bends only this far. Now let's fully equip Wolf Bronski with all his weapons. First with his knife, then we have his laser pistol, like so. Very nice. Overall the figure is not bad, it's just a little bit hindered onto the shoulders and the hip joints there. And he is quite slim for a fat man in the animation, but still, this is a 1994 action figure, so I can let that slide. So if I'm going to give a rating on this, he's actually not bad looking. Despite that, he has two small accessories. All Exo Squad figures tends to have at least two accessories there, so that's not such a big deal there. So if I'm going to give a rating of this, I'll give it a nice 8 out of 10. Yes, 8 out of 10 for Wolf Bronski action figure here. Next up, let's take a look at the Ground Assault E-frame. Be right back. And we're back, and this time we'll take a look at the Ground Assault E-frame. But first things first, inside the packaging, it comes with an instruction manual. On one side, top section there actually is a weapon spec for the Ground Assault E-frame, and the bottom section of the instruction manual here lists out the Police Enforcer E-frame's weapon specs, and I find it kind of interesting that it only lists out 2 of the E-frame's weapon specs and not all 4 of them for Series 2, unlike the first series itself. On the other side of the instruction manual, it shows you where to place all the accessories onto the E-frame itself, how to port in using the Cyberjack onto the figure, where to place the missiles, and where to place the sticker decals. And speaking of the sticker decals, now the moment you remove the Ground Assault E-frame out from the packaging itself, you are given with the main sticker sheet here, which you have to apply it yourself, as you can see, unlike the Series 1 for the JT Marsh Area Assault E-frame. Now the sticker labels here is quite detailed stuff, as you can see. There's buttons on the side of the cockpit itself. There's a smaller window with a missile being flown out, and the planet is on fire. On the other side is a fire extinguisher. Each side of the arm itself actually has keypads, control systems, very nice details for the stickers itself. And here we have a counter, an ammo counter, which is kind of interesting to note that this entire arm can load up to 9,714 rounds. Why that specific number, I have no idea, but quite surprising that it can actually load that much. Here we have a customizable sticker decal for battle damage, which is a optional stickers that you can apply onto the E-frame itself, but I didn't apply it because I want it clean. Now let's take a look at the E-frame's accessories. First, we have the fusion pack here, made of a clear translucent plastic with no paint job at all, and the mold is basically the same mold as you can find from the first series of the JT Marsh Area Assault E-frames fusion pack. The amount of details there, you can slot the fusion pack at the back portion of the E-frame. Then it comes with the rest of the weapons, as you can see here. All this are made of a yellow plastic material color, as you can see. Very basic details. One of them is a dual barrel laser cannon, and the other ones are smaller guns. And all of them attached above the E-frame's body, as you can see. Very basic details. I don't have to go through such lengthy explanation of them. Then we have the sight shooter, which is missile packs made of a brown plastic material color. In the back portion here, there's a bit of details there, as you can see. Here is the peg to plug in each side of the knees for the E-frame. And you can see that each of the missile pack have already been placed with the sticker labels. Very nice. And finally, we have 5 yellow plastic material colored missiles, as you can see there. And as you can see, it's quite basic in detail. But at the bottom section of the missile itself, there's this slit here. Now, for the E-frame's right arm, here we have 5 empty holes, 5 slots here, as you can see now. And each one of the slots here can load up, 1 missile. Now what's funny about this is that, again, I have to show you, there's this slit here, as you can see. And if you look closely, each one of the hole itself, the missile hole, the missile slot here, there's this tiny little peg here. So you have to align properly for the missile to slide into the right arm itself. Otherwise it wouldn't go in at all. And that's all the accessories there is for the E-frame. Now let's take a look at the figure itself. First, let's do a size comparison. Here we have Wolf Bronski figure, and he is actually a 2.5-inch tall figure, as you can see. And the E-frame is way taller than him by twice its height, as shown here. Now let's take a look at the colors for the ground assault E-frame. Now majority of the parts, as you can see here, is made of a brown plastic material color, with black parts and yellow parts as well, and there are some parts that's actually painted. So let's take a look at the clear translucent plastic parts first. We have here the shield, the cockpit shield here, and the leg shield, all made of a clear translucent plastic, except they actually painted some of the portions, like the body shield here, the windshield here, the edges there, or the armor parts have been painted in brown. For the leg armor parts, only the knee section has been painted in green, as you can see now. The lower section has no paint job at all. Now for the other colored parts, like this back portion here, this is where you place all the weapons, are made of a yellow plastic material color. So does the grapple missile here. The black parts, as you can see, is the black antenna. The top section for this part here to hold onto this windshield. The cyber jack, the clip, the hip joints, the two joysticks, the pistons or the hydraulics are all made of a black plastic material color, as you can see there. And for the rest of those parts, they are actually made of a brown plastic material color with paint job on. So for this right arm here, as you can see, this entire barrel is painted in green, and each section here is painted in black. So does the back portion as well. The base is painted in green, but each of the, I would say, vents are actually painted in black. So that's on the other side as well. As I mentioned before, the windshield has been painted in brown, and so does the knee shields here. That's actually painted in green. Very nice. The back portion, there is no paint job at all. And that's all the paint job there is for the ground assault E-frame. Very simple, actually. Now let's take a look at the Vegas mold. Now none of the parts here is actually been reused. For the ground assault E-frame, it's actually its own unique mold itself. And the entire design of the ground assault E-frame does remind me of the Macross Spartans, the one that got the Macross ship with big giant arms. When it opens up the lid cover, it shows a lot of missiles, those Spartans there. It does remind me of that. I would assume they actually took the idea and, well, formed it into a Exo E-frame version. Very nicely done though. One side of the arm here, you get to see this huge entire piece of an arm. Top section here, we have the laser pointer, or perhaps a scope or something. There's also a lot of panelings on the top, tubings as well, a lot of wiring at the bottom as well. Very nice. Vents inside, the barrels and the back portion, and you have this piece at the back. I assume, well, in the show itself is actually a rocket thruster, so I'm not too sure why they designed it this way, but then again, the rocket thruster at the back here as well. On the other side is quite similar design as the right-sided arm, except for the bottom section here. There's a pulley system here. There's a black row of string all wrapped up inside that's attached to the grapple missile here. You can see that each side of the arm actually has a black joystick that attach onto the arm itself. Very nicely done. Back portion of the body, there's a bit of details as well. This is where you place the fusion pack. Here is where you place all the weapons, and you have the black antenna. Now what I really don't like the legs is that you can see the bottom section of the ankle is quite hollowed out. So I really don't like how they designed the ankle joints there. But the rest of the parts are really nice. One side of the leg here, you get to see how the leg design is. It's sort of like a zigzag motion. Very nice. Got wiring as well. We have hydraulics. Very nice. You got the large feet, but the bottom section of the feet, there's no details to the thrusters, so it's a little bit disappointing. But at least it's not flat out as shown from the area assault E-frame's feet. At least there's a bit of grade there. As you can see, there's a bit of details. Very nice. Now I'm going to move the arms up first. Move this entire piece. This is actually articulated. You can actually flip the entire windshield all the way up with no hindrance at all. But first, the windshield itself. As you can see, the windshield, it's actually has 3 angles. It's not a smooth curved surface is actually in 3 separate angles, flat on the front and angle on both sides. So when you place a figure inside, I'm going to demonstrate like right now. I'm not going to lock everything up, just demonstrate how weird it look when you place a figure in here. Gotta get the clip on first. Yes, here we are. You can see the front part of the face itself is very small, but you get to see it quite well on each side. I really don't like how they designed the windshield being something like that. I'm going to put this one side first. Lock everything back to normal first. And you get to see a bit of details on the windshield itself. A bit of armor parts as well. You can lift this up, you get to see the cyber jack here. What's another problem with this cyber jack is that it's really hard to place the figure inside and plug in with the cyber jack. So when you get the chance to plug in, because you have to bend the plastic, this black plastic cyber jack here, and by bending it on a certain angle, I'm kind of worried that sooner or later it's just going to break. So I'm kind of worried on that part. The inside of the cockpit is quite flat actually, except we have this padding. Other than that, we have the stickers is quite bland. You have the clip here. By opening the legs, the leg arms, as you can see, it's quite hollow out in the inside. Nothing that special. Close this in, flip the arms back. And there you have it for the details of the entire ground assault E-frame. It's actually not bad, but there's some certain parts it's not really well done, like the really empty gap hole here on the ankles itself, and the problem with the cyber jack itself. It's really hard to place a figure inside while stressing the plastic. Let's take a look at the figure's articulation. Now, unlike the other E-frames, this ground assault E-frame is, well, lacking elbow joints, and it doesn't have a specific elbow joint that can allow the arms to go in and out, so it's a little bit disappointing. However, the arms can rotate 360 degrees depending on how you adjust it. As you can see here, you can rotate the entire arm 360 degrees. As I mentioned, that the armor parts is articulated. Now the hip joints is rather limited in articulation. It still moves, but slightly. This is straight up, as shown like so. This is already straight, and this is as far as can go. So it's rather disappointing that the hip joint is so limited, unlike the other E-frames found in Series 1 and Series 2. The knee joint also quite limited because it's being hindered by this part here. So you bend only this far. Not much of a difference. However, the ankle joint is quite well done because it can pivot downwards and upwards, and that's about it. It's really limited for the hip joints and the knee joints itself. Now let's fully equip all the accessories onto the E-frame. Let's put the side shooters on each side of the knee, placing the weapons on top, and placing the final weapon here. Plug in the fusion pack. The fusion pack is one of the smallest accessories. Then again, you also have other smaller accessories as well. Load in the missiles, as you can see, from this end first, slot like so, according to the slits. As you can see. And there you have it. The ground assault E-frame is fully loaded. Now it does have a gimmick, well, two gimmicks actually. For the left arm, we have the grapple missile launcher here, and it's attached with the black string all the way down to the pulley here. Now the back portion, the thrusters itself, is actually a dial, so you have to turn the dial to launch the missiles, both sides even. So for the grappling missile, all you have to do is just turn the dial like so, and there you have it. Again, the grapple missile also have a slit, so you have to place it in a certain angle and then push it all the way in. You got the black string here. By pulling this, you actually pull the string back in like so. And for the other arms, by turning this dial at the back here, at the back is the thruster, by turning it all the way, you launch all the 5 missiles, or one by one, like so. And I still have 1 missile left. And that's all the gimmick there is for the ground assault E-frame. And yes, according to the package itself, the side shooters can actually turn 360 degrees. Wow, that's nothing really that great, but there you have it. But I did forgot to mention that you can actually twist the hip joints a little bit sideways, so it doesn't look too weird if it's having 2 legs just straight up forward like that. So you can actually move it sideways a little bit. Next up, let's put Wolf Bronski pilot into the ground assault E-frame. Be right back. And we're back, and this time Wolf Bronski is already, well, in the cockpit of the ground assault E-frame. Now with the figure, as you can see, placed inside the cockpit, you can see the cyber jack wire there. It's sort of, well, compressed and folded in one section, so I'm kind of worried that it will break sooner or later there due to the stress. Now with the figure holding the handles itself with no problem, it's quite easy to place the hand into the handle itself. But of course, articulation wise, Wolf Bronski can only turn in a certain angles, as you can see here, either forward or up, and that's about it. Any more higher, it'll just let go of the, well, the handle, thanks to the design of the shoulders itself. Now for the leg joints itself, he has no problem, he can slide in quite well, but then again, he's not going to move much anyway, thanks to the limitation and hindrance to the leg joints. So does the knee joints. So by placing the figure snugly inside, you can close the windshield like so, and Wolf Bronski is ready to rock and roll like so. Very nice. Now the design of the E-frame is actually quite nice, but there's so much hindrance to the leg articulation itself due to the design itself. This is not really necessary because they have to put in the screw anyway, but it's not really necessary. It just hinders the knee articulation. And furthermore, due to the design of the hip joints, it's because of the zigzagging mode of the leg joints itself, it also prevents the hip joints to move any further thanks to the leg armor here blocking and, well, causing a little bit hindrance there. So posing this figure is not as great. You can't pose that much. You can pose him walking and, well, flying like so, but due to the limitation of the knee joints, is rather disappointing. And furthermore, to those who are fan to the Exo Squad animation, you cannot even twist the entire arms, well, all the way up, because the arms, the figure's arms will just let go of the handle because due to the hindrance of the shoulders itself. So you cannot actually try to emulate the same style that Wolf Bronski would pilot the ground SL E-frame having the both barrels of the arms pointing straight up and fly up in the sky. So again, a little bit disappointing on that part. But the details of the E-frame is actually not bad looking, and the figure is also not bad looking as well, but quite hindered on the articulation. So if I'm gonna give a rating out of this, I'm just gonna give it a nice 7 out of 10. Yes, 7 out of 10 for the ground SL E-frame. I thank you all for watching. This is Lucy05 and I'm signing off.